When I left foster care and managed to enroll at the College of Charleston, I had no idea I'd meet someone like Ryan. He was charming, successful, and always knew the right thing to say at the right times. We dated for a year before deciding to tie the knot and move out to Ryan's hometown in Arizona. At first, married life was totally chill. Ryan made a great first impression. His coworkers thought he was super smart, and our neighbors saw us as the perfect couple. But about 6 months in, his whole attitude changed. He started dictating everything from what I wore to who I could hang out with and where I went. He tracked my phone, checked my emails, and demanded I call him every single hour when I wasn't home. "It's because I love you and want to keep you safe," he'd say, pressing my hand too hard sometimes. So when he slapped me for the first time, I definitely didn't see it coming. As I sat down crying on the floor, tasting blood in my mouth, Ryan continued explaining how much he loves me. He brought me flowers and said it would never happen again. But it did. He was always super careful though, making sure he never left any bruises in visible places. I knew divorce wasn't going to be my way out. Ryan would drag the whole thing out, making my life hell, or maybe even off me before he'd let me walk away. So I decided to just disappear instead. It took 3 months of planning. I saved cash from grocery money Ryan never checked, created a fake ID through a friend from foster care, and found a place to go where he'd never look. One night, when he was asleep, I threw my scarf at the local river and ran away, staging that I'd drowned intentionally. My bag with clothes and cash was already hidden in bushes on the beach where I'd planted it days before. After a 2-day search came up empty, the Coast Guard declared me missing and, eventually, dead. My husband, Ryan, totally nailed the role of the heartbroken widower at my memorial. I watched the news coverage from a motel room, already a few states away. I settled down in Asheville, got a gig at a coffee shop, and rented this tiny 1-bedroom apartment right above a used bookstore. 4 months zipped by, and I started feeling pretty safe. I was making friends, laughing again, and actually daring to think I'd truly pulled it off. But the feeling of safety got completely wrecked one evening when I got home from work. The second I unlocked my apartment door, I knew something was super wrong. The kitchen chairs were pushed in and perfectly aligned with the table. Every single chair was exactly the same distance from the edge. That was one of Ryan's habits that he'd do every night before bed. My stomach dropped and my heart started pounding. I turned to run, but he was already blocking the door. Funny how after all these months, you can still tell it's me. I knew we were soulmates. Ryan chuckled, stepping closer. He was wearing a suit and tie, as if he'd just come from work.
How did you...
What, you think I wouldn't? You're my wife. He smiled, stepping closer.
I'm not your wife. Your wife is dead.
You faked your death, he snapped. You betrayed me and humiliated me and made me grieve. He kept walking toward me, and I backed toward the wall. We're going home, Emma. You've had your little tantrum, and now it's time to come back.
I'm not going anywhere with you.
His face changed, and the smile disappeared. Yes, you are. He grabbed my arm and slapped me twice. I screamed and yanked away. He grabbed me so hard his fingers dug into my flesh, and blood oozed out. I swung my purse at his face and hit him hard enough to make him let go. I ran for the door, but he caught me and threw me against the wall. My head cracked against the drywall, and it started bleeding. He yelled, repeatedly smacking my face and dragging me. I fought back and kicked and scratched his face until I drew blood. We crashed into my coffee table, and it flipped over and shattered. I grabbed a piece of broken wood and swung it at him, but missed.
Help! Someone help me!
I screamed as loud as I could. Ryan's hand went around my throat and started squeezing. I couldn't breathe, and everything was going dark. Right then, someone started pounding on my door. Open up! Ryan froze and his grip loosened. I sucked in air and the pounding got even louder. "This is the police! Open the door now!" The door burst open. My landlord, Mr. Patterson, heard the screaming and called 911. 2 cops rushed in and pulled Ryan off me. He was screaming that I was his wife and that I'd faked my death and that he had rights. They slammed him against the wall and cuffed him. I sat on the floor, trying to breathe with blood on my face and bruises already forming on my neck. Ryan was charged with breaking and entering, assault, and attempted kidnapping. The Charleston police added charges for filing a false missing persons report when they found out I'd faked my death. In the end, Ryan got 5 years. I'm 30 now and still living in Asheville. I have a different apartment, a new job, and a restraining order that'll last until Ryan's in his 50s. I know it all sounds like a movie, but it was 10 times more horrific than a movie. Remember the movie of Julia Roberts, Sleeping with the Enemy? Well, I have first-hand experience in that. Olivia and I had moved out to Boulder, Colorado, trying one last time to save our train wreck of a marriage. It was Olivia's idea. She said living in a new place, surrounded by mountains and calm, would give us a fresh start. But the train had already derailed, and no matter how hard we tried, it kept derailing for the worse. Even in Boulder, we were always constantly fighting about something or other. The final straw went down in March, right after I got back from work. A little tiff blew up into a full-on nightmare fight. She was crying and I was yelling. The insults, they were nasty. She called me a selfish jerk, and I shot back with crazy. The whole thing totally wrecked us.
I'm over it. I can't take this crap anymore.
With the last word, she grabbed her keys and bailed. "Fine, leave. See if I care." She slammed the door so hard that a picture frame fell off the wall. I heard her car start and listened to the tires screech as she peeled out. I figured she'd be back, same as always, after spending a night at her sister's to chill out, ready to hash things out in the morning. But she never showed up. The next day, my call went straight to her voicemail. I texted her and got nothing. When I called her sister, I found out Olivia wasn't even there and hadn't been. By day 3, I was getting worried and filed a missing person report. The cops didn't seem too concerned though. They said couples fight and she probably just needed space, and told me to check back in a week. On the 5th night, I came home to a small plain cardboard box sitting on my doorstep. My name was scribbled on it with a black marker, and there was no return address. I grabbed it and took it inside. When I finally popped the box open, I got hit with a wave of major dread and panic. Inside was a lock of long, dark brown hair, definitely Olivia's. They were completely soaked in a sticky red mess that looked like blood. My hands started shaking, and I called the police immediately. When I showed them the box, they took it for evidence and started treating Olivia's disappearance more seriously. 2 days later, another package arrived. This one was bigger and heavier. I didn't want to open it, so the detective did. His face went white as a sheet as he pulled out a finger, severed clean at the knuckle, and wearing a silver band with a small diamond that I knew too well. I'd slid it on Olivia's finger on our wedding day. I threw up right there on the porch. The detective called for backup. Over the next week, more packages kept coming. Each one was more messed up than the last. I'd gotten a piece of torn clothing, a bloodied earring I knew, just a non-stop nightmare getting worse and worse. The police started looking at me differently and asked me pointed questions. Where was I the night she left? Have we fought before? How often? Did I have life insurance on her? Had I ever been violent? They told me I was the last person to see Olivia alive, and the husband's always the prime suspect in these cases. They searched my house top to bottom, took my clothes for testing, and swabbed my hands for gunpowder residue, even though no gun was involved. I hired a lawyer who told me not to say anything without him present. Then, the lab results came back, and the detective showed up at my door. The, body parts don't belong to your wife. What? DNA doesn't match Olivia's. They belong to a woman named Ellie Hoffman, who went missing 3 weeks ago during a solo hiking trip near El Dorado Canyon. I couldn't process it. I don't understand. Someone's been sending you pieces of Ellie Hoffman's body, made to look like your wife's. Nausea hit me. I couldn't even take her name. The detective nodded anyway. We think your wife is still alive, Mr. William, and we believe she murdered Ellie Hoffman. They found Ellie's body 2 days later in a shallow grave in the mountains. She'd been mutilated and was missing the parts that had been mailed to me. Cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. Olivia's car was found abandoned at a trailhead near where Ellie went missing. Security footage from a gas station showed Olivia buying a shovel and trash bags the day before Ellie disappeared, but Olivia herself vanished completely. The police think she planned it all. She staged her own disappearance and killed Ellie to send me body parts, maybe to frame me for murder or drive me insane, or both. But the question nobody could answer was why? Why would she kill an innocent woman and send me the pieces? What did she want? I think about our last fight and the things I said. See if I care. Maybe she wanted to make me care and suffer. Maybe she wanted to punish me for not loving her anymore. I left Boulder and settled in Denver, near my family. The case is still open, and Olivia's on the FBI most wanted list. They think she fled to somewhere overseas, but I don't think she left. I think she's still watching me and waiting. I don't shop online, because every time a package shows up at my door, it makes my heart stop. Because Olivia's still out there, and Ellie Hoffman's murder proves she's capable of anything. Sometimes I wonder if more women looked like Olivia, if she is collecting more victims and their pieces. Maybe she's saving them for when she decides to contact me again. And sometimes, late at night, I hear a noise outside and think maybe she's finally come to finish what she started. We lived in Portland, Oregon, in one of those old craftsman houses near Hawthorne. My wife Rosie fell in love with it the second she saw it 7 years ago. She said it was perfect for starting our life together. I was also happy to call it home. The next 2 years were heaven, but around the third year, things started to turn south. We were arguing over dumb stuff, like me leaving dishes in the sink or her spending too much money. Before long, the fights got so bad we'd yell until we were hoarse. Often, she'd throw things. I'd punch holes in the wall. Our neighbors filed complaints twice. The cops even showed up once. By year 5, I knew it was over. We were miserable, but Rosie refused to admit it. She kept saying we just needed therapy or another vacation and maybe a baby. I didn't want a baby with someone I couldn't stand being in the same room with. The night I first mentioned the word was in February. We had this huge fight after she'd gone through my phone while I was sleeping and found texts with my coworker Rachel about a work project. It was innocent stuff, but Rosie was convinced I was cheating.
You're sleeping with her! I know you are!
Rosie's voice cracked. Her hands balled into fists at her sides. I'm not! I shot back, slamming my phone on the table. Jesus, Rosie! We were talking about the Henderson account, nothing else! Her eyes narrowed while she accused me of lying. That's it. I want a divorce. The room went dead silent. For an entire minute, Rosie stared at me like I'd grown a second head. I watched her face go from angry to blank, as if I had slapped her.
I'll fix it.
She looked up at me with a grin.
I'll fix everything, Kyle. You'll see.
Her grin made my skin crawl, but I was too worn out to argue. I slept in the guest room that night. The next morning, I woke up to Rosie making pancakes with chocolate chips. She was humming a song about eternal love, wearing that yellow dress I used to like.
Morning, baby. I made your favorite breakfast.
She giggled, kissing my cheek. Rosie, we need to talk about...
Shh. Just eat. We're going to be okay. I promise.
Over the next few weeks, my wife was like a different person. Every morning, I'd wake up to breakfast and kisses. She'd leave these little notes in my lunch, reminding me how much she loved me and how I was her everything. She was sweet and devoted and putting in so much effort. I was convinced we really could figure this out, until shit got really weird. It was a Monday morning, and I was mid-call with my coworker about an important project when my phone blew up and wouldn't turn on. I thought it was a glitch and got a replacement, but that one died too within a week. Afterwards, I started paying more attention to the little things and realized the door locks looked different too. I tried my key one night to confirm, and it wouldn't work. When I asked Rosie about it, she just said she'd upgraded them. I found cameras installed everywhere in the house as well. You got cameras? She defended herself, saying it was for extra security. I decided to leave for good that night. I threw some stuff in a bag and waited till Rosie was totally out, before sneaking downstairs and making a break for the car. When I got in, I kept trying the ignition, but the damn thing wouldn't turn over. I got down from the car and opened the hood, only to find that the battery was gone.
Looking for this?
I jumped and turned around. Rosie was right there on the porch, holding my car battery in one hand and the big kitchen knife in the other. Rosie?
After everything I've done, after I've fixed things between us, you still want to leave me?
She moved closer, crying and smiling at the same time. I tried my best to reason with her that it'll be better to live alone peacefully than live like animals under the same roof. Rosie was still walking towards me, holding the knife, while I backed up towards the house.
Love requires sacrifices, Kyle. I read that in a book about saving marriages.
Stay back!
If you can't love me willingly...
She stopped a few feet away, the knife glinting in the nearby streetlight.
And I'll make sure you never leave.
Rosie let out an ear-piercing scream and charged at me. I booked it back toward the house, got chased down the hall, and barely made it into the guest room in time to lock the door before she could reach me. I ended up locking myself in the guest room and calling 911 on the landline as she repeatedly stabbed the wooden door, yelling at me that we would never be over. Her rage continued until I heard cop car sirens outside. When the cops got in, they found Rosie in the kitchen, just chilling and making tea. A knife was on the counter, and my car battery was on the table. She totally downplayed what happened, telling the officers I was overreacting and that we'd just had a little argument. But the door was enough proof. She was arrested immediately, slapped with a restraining order, and taken for a psychiatric evaluation. It helped me get a quick divorce. It has nearly been a year. I left Oregon for good and stay in Seattle now. It was difficult to start over, but I'm picking up pieces. I don't date anymore. My marriage has left me with deep trust issues. Every time a woman smiles at me, I think of Rosie standing in that driveway with tears on her face and a knife in her hand. I often get nightmares of finding my psycho ex-wife leaning on my face with a creepy grin, standing right next to my bed. I even thought about visiting her at the mental institution, but then again, I fear giving out about my current whereabouts. It's better to bury the past.